Welcome back to the Market Navigator channel. In the last video, we created a basic spreadsheet to track the fundamentals of a stock portfolio. We discussed the basics of Google Sheets and the Google Finance formula. We also talked about the proper notation of ticker symbols that the Google Finance formula expects. But what if something goes wrong with that notation, or any of our other formulas? In this video, we'll talk about checking our work for errors and adding fail-safe features to our portfolio. Before we begin, click the subscribe button below so you can be notified of all new Market Navigator videos and stay up to date with the progress of the portfolio tracker and dashboard that we'll be building together. Okay, let's get started. We'll first begin by checking our Google Finance formula notation. That is, if you remember from the last video, we talked about the ticker symbol needing to be comprised of first the market, then a colon, then the ticker symbol that corresponds to the stock you want to look at. As discussed in our last video, this ticker symbol notation avoids conflicts between symbols that might be the same across different markets. If anything goes wrong with that ticker symbol, or the notation used here, you'll end up with errors. For example, if I add a space in between the colon and the ticker symbol, we'll notice errors going down the line for all the formulas that reference that ticker symbol. This particular space example is in reference to the Google Finance page, wherein if you copy and paste the ticker symbol from Google Finance here, if we copy this and we paste that here, you'll notice that it includes a space. So what this space does is actually confuses the Google Finance formula into believing that you're searching for a ticker symbol that includes a space. So you'll see here the query for the symbol space Apple returned no data. And we're not looking for space Apple, we're looking for Apple. In this circumstance, that's an easy fix. What we need to do is just modify the formula that we're using here, and specifically the A2 reference. So what we'll do is we'll use a formula that's built into Google Sheets called substitute. You'll see the documentation here. So the input for the substitute formula is the text to search. In this case, we want to search our symbol, which will include a space that we want to remove. So the first parameter will be A2, which is the reference to the cell that contains the ticker symbol. We'll put a comma, and the next parameter that the substitute formula expects is a search for. In this case, we want to search for any spaces. So we'll put a space character surrounded by quotes, which will allow us to search for those spaces. We'll add another comma, which will now switch us over to the third parameter that the substitute formula will accept, which is the replace with. In this case, we'll put two quotes back to back with no space characters. And really what this is doing is searching for a space character and replacing it with nothing, a blank string. So now we'll close off that formula with a closing parentheses and hit enter. We'll see now, even with the space or the incorrectly formatted notation, we're able to still access the name of the particular security that we're looking up. So we'll go ahead and copy that down to the remainder of our formulas. We can do the same concept with these other errors that we're receiving. So you can copy that, substitute, hit right click, copy. We could paste that in. Wherever we have A2 referenced, we'll just paste that in. All right. And that seems to have fixed all of our other formulas. So now what we'll do is we'll just copy down that work that we just did. Great. So what if we want to create an area on the sheet that will automatically calculate any new holdings that we add to the sheet? The way we will do this is we'll add a bounding area And we'll copy down all of the formulas that need to be calculated for each new holding that we'll add. So we'll copy from columns E all the way through column J, and we'll copy all of those guys down. And we'll do the same thing for the name column, since that's also automatically calculated by the Google Finance formula. What you'll immediately notice is a bunch of errors. And the reason that's happening is because, for example, in column B for name, we're making reference to cell A5, which is actually blank. The way that we'll fix this is for us to programmatically identify whether we have a ticker symbol in column A, and in that case, if we have a ticker symbol in column A, then we'll display the results of the Google Finance formula. To begin, we'll add some conditional logic that checks to see if there are contents in column A, and if there are contents in column A, then we'll proceed with the formula. So we'll start by typing if, open parentheses. So here's our logical expression. What logic are we going to use to determine whether to run the Google Finance formula? In this case, the logic that we'll use is if there's nothing, or if not, A5, which is a reference to cell A5, which will contain the ticker symbol. If there's nothing in A5, so we need if A5 equals empty, or in other words, if A5 is not empty, then we'll run the formula. Now, what if A5 is empty? Well, what we want to return is an empty string. And that seemed to work. So just to recap, we added conditional logic if A5 is not equal to blank, then we'll show the Google Finance function. If it is blank, then we'll show nothing, a blank string. Now we can copy that formula down, and it should remove all the errors. Now let's say we added another symbol. Well, that seemed to work. If we delete that symbol, awesome. So to continue, we want to copy over this conditional logic to the other cells that have zeros or errors in them. And this will result in a cleaner portfolio for us. Let's go ahead and copy this conditional logic. And we'll paste that over into the other cells. And so if A5 is not blank, then we'll do this arithmetic. Otherwise, we want to spit out a blank result. There you go. Let's copy that down. And we'll do the same for these other errors. Okay, great. So now, if we add in any new stocks or holdings, it'll automatically populate for anywhere that we add those new holdings down the line, which is great. But you'll notice that we get a division by zero error here. The function divide parameter 2 cannot be 0, and basically that's a division by zero error. And that's because we don't have a cost basis in here yet. And this total gain and loss percentage uses the cost basis as a way to calculate the percentage of gain or loss. Now there's an easy fix for this. If there is no cost basis, this should really be 0. This column I should really be 0 because there can't be a gain or loss without first knowing your cost basis. So the way that we'll fix that is we'll use the iferror formula, which checks to see if the value of a formula results in an error, then it'll return something else. And it's a good way to catch errors. So we'll type in if error. And the first parameter is the function that you want to try. If there is an error, we'll return a 0 in this case, since you can't have a gain or loss. So we'll close that out. And there we go. So we'll see now that Walmart is showing a 0 gain or loss because there is no cost basis entered. So we can go ahead and copy that formula up and down. And when I copied it down, you'll notice that it's blank because of the previous step that we took. And we should be good. So that's it for this lesson. As always, I will share a sample project file for you to reference in the description. If you liked this video, click the thumbs up icon below. If you want to see more of these videos, hit that subscribe button. And if you want to be notified when I post the next lesson in this series, hit the bell icon below. Thanks for watching. See you in the next one.